12 straight wins on home ice for the Colorado Avalanche. This one comes in a Central Division rivalry game against the Winnipeg Jets, who have now lost 12 of their last 15 games, including 10 of those in regulation. This one, much like another regulation loss, the Avs hold on for a 3-2 victory. They get 2 points from Josh Manson. This one felt chippy. It felt like I wouldn't say a playoff game because it is the middle of December, but you could feel the hatred between the two teams. Scott Wedgwood plays wonderfully. Connor Hellebuck was absolutely phenomenal for Winnipeg. But as is the story for most of the season, the Avs get 2 points, Spring.
Yeah, just before we get on, still had my Altitude Plus stream on, was watching some of it on 9 News tonight, mostly locked into my shit-ass Sooners doing what they did tonight.
Man,
but
to have a 17-0 lead evaporate that poorly against Alabama, man, oh no.
Brutal with a great defense. It's how the Sooners have been for years. Haven't won anything meaningful in years. Nonetheless, getting ready to get on, got my Altitude Plus up, and they announced the 3 stars of the game, and they got it right. You know, I'll call them out when they get it wrong. They got it right tonight. Josh Manson, your first star of the game, and he absolutely was. And you know, they mentioned the 12 straight at home, and he shouts out the fans, and it's so true. Like, this is a hockey town, it really is. And they're tough to beat when they're good, and when they're good, the fans care. Even when they're not great, the fans care. But then you get more opposing fans in the building. That's just the way of the world. It's a tough place. Like, it's a great home ice. It's a legitimate great home ice in the NHL. So 14-0-2 at home. 12 straight at home. Josh Manson spot on. And dude, I mean, yes, he's the first star of the game. You know, he doesn't score a goal tonight. But what did he have? 2 assists? I believe 2 assists as I pull the box score up here.
2 assists,
he had
a fight plus 3.
Had a fight tonight. And it's been this way for a few games for Josh Manson. And, you know, they extended him recently, and yeah, he's had his up and down moments. Obviously, a key trade deadline acquisition when they win the Stanley Cup. He's starting to get a little older. We forget that he is still very much so a capable player. He's like new Eric Johnson in a way. To see him play this well of late, to see him be that physical force that this team needs. Like, there's no Keaton Middleton anymore, and you don't really have room. You can't afford a Keaton Middleton because, you know, dude can't skate. Josh Manson can actually skate, and he can hold his own. And he was saying, bring it on to one and all in this game. Dude, he knocked out Mason Marchment. He knocked out Tanner Pearson. After what was a clean hit on Cole Perfetti. That is a clean hit. Shout out Josh Manson. Just, yeah, I mean, so, like, I'm glad that he gets his moment here tonight after a few games where he's played very well.
I mean, I thought the physicality was led by him, led by Gabriel Landeskog this evening. Everyone was trying to throw hits. Guys, it was to the point where Sam Girard was hitting a player who was 9 inches taller than him and has 55 to 60 pounds on him. And Girard took him to the ice on the hit. Like, the Avs, for all of the warts that come on power play, and the PK it's teetering right now. It's still the second best in the National Hockey League right now, but PK is teetering. Obviously, the power play goal that you give up happens 6 seconds in. It's just broken assignment after broken assignment after missed play from Drury, and then it's just a tap-in backdoor for Scheifele. PK has been great all season. The past, 2 weeks, I would really like it to tighten up a little bit. For all of the warts on power play, they continue to be dominant 5-on-5, and they continue to bring a physicality and a ramped up intensity when games get close that I think they were missing last year. And I think it's all because of Manson and Burns and, most importantly, Gabriel Landeskog.
Yeah. Landeskog laid a big hit late in this game. I thought this was a really good Sam Girard game. You mentioned the hit that he laid. And he was active tonight. He had a great stretch pass to Victor Olofsson in this game where Golofsson got a good look on net but couldn't get the goal. He was active tonight. Devon Taves saves a goal in this game.
Oh yeah, he does.
Ends up being a 1-goal game. So that was a big moment when a puck kind of got through Scott Wedgwood, but Taves was Johnny on the spot, and Taves had other good defensive plays today. I thought overall a sleepy game from Cale Makar, from Nathan MacKinnon. Nate only 1 shot on goal, only 2 shots on goal for Cale. I didn't think it was a big Sam Malinsky game, who's paired with Gerard, although Sam did have 2 shots on goal. They just found avenues. I mean, obviously Nate has the great breakout and assist to Natchez. But outside of that, I don't know. A little sleepy from the 2 big guns tonight in my eyes.
I did really love Bednar's change up on the pairings. I saw them play Gerard and Manson together, and then Burns and Malinsky. Don't get me wrong. I hope that the pairing in the postseason is Burns and Manson together. But when you need to switch things up, for them to have the ability to go small and super rangy at the same time, to have, puck mover and speed player alongside net front presence and physicality, you have that really good, like, give and take yin and yang on a D pairing. I really liked that look. It happened mostly in the beginning of the third period, I remember. And I don't think it was a little bit at the end of the second, but I remember at the beginning of the third period, they had that type of look. I would like to see that a little bit more, just to test the waters to see if that could be your true full 6-man unit. This is what you have the luxury of doing right now, despite Dallas and Minnesota just winning hockey games all over the place. Dallas wins again tonight. You have the luxury of being able to, like, experiment with things, and I liked that experiment tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Gerard was playing well. So, and Manson obviously had a great game. So you put those 2 together because they're playing. And Brent Burns did have a good game. He scored the first goal of this game, got a couple pucks through in that sequence, and Brent was a +2 tonight. But since we've seen Sam and Josh play together a lot since Josh Manson has come over to the Avs. So that's going to be something that Jared Bednar is going to want to do if Sam Girard is playing well, which I thought that he did tonight. Let's talk about the power play. 0 for 3. And they allow a shorthanded goal, kind of a weird play, a clear dumped pass from Winnipeg that just kind of caroms off the boards perfectly to Morgan Barron-Stick, brother of Justin Barron, I believe.
Yes,
Morgan
brother
Barron?
of Justin Barron, yes.
Okay, that happens on the third power play. Second power play was weird because Marty Natchez takes a hit from Logan Stanley that I thought was like Natchez enters the zone, and I thought it was a tick late. Like, I'm not saying I would have called it interference, but it was like that puck was somewhat long gone since Natchez released it, and he still takes a hit from Stanley. I'm telling you, Winnipeg was on one tonight. Like, they lost 2 in a row. They were a game under 500 after winning the President's Trophy coming in, or from last year. Losing 2 in a row coming into tonight. Now I've lost 3 in a row. They're under 500. I just think they were trying to set a tone. Like, I think Winnipeg was very much so the instigators in all of this shit that went down tonight.
Yeah.
I get it that they're probably frustrated. This is a team, Raj, that Nikolai Ehlers signs with the Hurricanes in the offseason. And I was talking about it on the Blitz. I don't see how they improved. Like, they net negative from the offseason to where they were last year to now.
Right. Their response was, we're going to take a chance on Jonathan Taves, who hasn't played in the league in almost 3 years and has had an autoimmune disease or deficiency or disorder that has happened over the past couple of seasons. Like, that was their hope that was going to fix it. I agree with you. Winnipeg got worse. Now, they've struggled this year because Connor Hellebuck has not been available. Their last few games when Hellebuck has been back, they've struggled to score goals. They haven't struggled to keep the puck out of the net because, well, as you saw tonight, Hellebuck is still really freaking good as long as it's in the 82-game regular season. When it gets to the postseason, all bets are off with that guy. I thought the first power play was good, Spring. I thought it generated good chances. They
I
just
thought it
didn't
got better
score.
as it went on.
I would
there
agree
was
with you.
one look they had. Was it Landeskog in the slot that they
Yes.
got? Yeah.
The second power play, I have to look at this goal, man. I know it takes a weird bounce off of the dash, or off the dasher rather, and goes directly up into the air. So I suppose, before I get on Kale here, and I'm going to, I suppose Kale could have simply lost track of the puck there. Like he was expecting that to take a jump off the board or the glass and kind of had a sharper angle back to the middle of the ice. Maybe he lost track of the puck. But it was a really bad goal for Kale to let in. He is at the end of a shift. At the end of that period, he played 2 minutes and 20 seconds straight from the 37:40 mark to the 40-minute mark of total game time. And he was at the end of that, right? He had already been on the ice for 2 straight minutes going into that power play. He was probably a little bit gassed. But as soon as you realize you don't have weak side help, there was not another defenseman over there. Nate wasn't over there. Landeskog, Nelson wasn't over. He had no help on that side of the ice. And all you have to do is take a quick scan. And Kale scans all the time. He has some of the best, maybe the best vision of ice in the league today. So not only does he not scan to the middle of the ice to check that he doesn't have weak side help, when he sees the Winnipeg player skating at him, I believe it's Alex Iafallo. Iafallo is skating at him with no pressure going against, and Kale just sits there with his feet stuck in the mud until after the puck hits the boards, and then he does this like lazy turn back to the middle of the ice, and Morgan Barron's barreling down the neutral zone. It was not good at all, man. When he sees Iafallo skating toward him, and he doesn't have weak side help, and there's no pressure being put at Iafallo, he has to turn and go. Turn and go, turn and go, turn and go. Like that, the shorthanded goal was 100% on Cale Makar.
Yeah.
And you never see that. It's so crazy because he's like the third best player on the planet, and he's very much the best defenseman in the entire world. And he doesn't make.
Well,
these
you're
mistakes.
you're not scoring on the power play, and the last thing you want to do is, I say the last thing you want to do, for lack of a better term, is, scrap and hustle defensively. Like, really, we're doing this right now. I want to get in the offensive zone. I want to score on this fucking thing. And instead, we're going to have to work defensively and, throw our body when we're on the power play. I'm making an excuse for Kale. Is what I'm doing.
It was a weird controller die moment for him. And I'm
Sure.
looking for the excuses there. For me, maybe he lost the puck. Maybe it was he thought that the puck hit the dasher, and when you lose it up, right, it's a dark puck. When it goes up into the air, the stands around you and the people back there it's dark and dark.
You're just assuming it's a clear out and you're going to go corral that thing. But nope, Morgan Barron's hustling his ass off. Iafallo's there too. And now you got to go to work defensively 10 seconds into a power play in which you haven't scored, barely at all. And you're just like, really, now I'm fucking Now I'm D'ing up when I want to be going to work on the blue line. And this is where the malaise kicks in, and it doesn't really matter because they got 2 points. But yeah, like Kale was lazy there. There's no doubt about it.
You know what it is? It's Sydney Sweeney showing up with a pimple on her nose to the red carpet, right? Like it's something that you go, oh, I've never seen that before. Like that looks out of place. It's a supermodel with a scratch on her face. And Kale tonight on the power play just had this like weird moment where he either loses the puck, makes a bad read, a combination of the two, also super tired, end of a period. It was just this weird thing. And because it's the anomaly for Cale Makar, I feel the need to go, What the hell was that?
Sure. As far so really because Nate just gets hurt on that power play and it kind of throws, or excuse me, the one before, and then the third one is the one with the shorthanded goal. It just kind of it's your second and your third power play. The juju's just thrown off because one of your best players is getting hurt. Now Nate just did return in this game. Two, you're allowing a shorthanded goal. The first one, and they do end up getting a decent look in the slot on that one. Okay, so Brock Nelson is on power play one now instead of Arturi Lehkonen. And I think, man, they are trying to figure out what to do on the right wing. That's what they're trying to figure out. It's, I've been harping on the net front, and obviously Landeskog's back out there, and that's where we want him. But even, now with Nelson out there, they are kind of going a little more wide, and that's where you see Landeskog getting opportunities more in the slot instead of net front. They're trying to figure out the right wing. And, they tried Nelson, and then they tried Olofsson, and then they tried Natchez, and now they're back to Nelson. They're trying to figure out who occupies that Mikko Rantanen role. It's the one area where they miss Mikko Rantanen. In
Oh yeah.
every other area, they do not miss him, but they only miss him on the power play for who is that right wing. They're trying Nelson as like a pseudo bumper float out to the right wing, but because Nelson is versatile, Nelson can play right wing. He can float inside. They can bring Landeskog out to the right wing. They're trying that right now. After trying Marty Natchez on the right wing, which I had concerns about because he's a right-handed shot, which doesn't necessarily fit. So to me, they're just trying to figure out this right wing and what the hell they do over there.
I wonder if the answer is we don't have the option there to shoot. And Nathan did say last year prior to Mikko being traded, it was early on the season, he goes, he's the most underrated power play goal scorer in the league. He's like, you can lock him in for 10 power play goals a year and shut your eyes and know what's going to happen. And you do turn that around. And I see Bandit says our power play
I was going to bring it up too.
with Mikko too.
Down the stretch and at the end of Mikko's tenure, yes, it did. But that was only a few months.
Right. The reason
for
why
years before that, Mikko would just laser things in from that right wing.
Right. So the reason why you say that is because, yeah, it cost you in the playoffs and it cost you down the stretch. But if you take the power play numbers from when Mikko enters the league until he leaves the Avs, I'll pull it up here in a couple of seconds when I'm not speaking. I guarantee you they are top 7 in the league across those years. Guarantee it. In terms of goal scoring and power play percentage. So they were good. I wonder if the answer here is, Spring, you don't have the left-handed shot that you trust there. What if you just scrap the whole 1-3-1? You even scrap an umbrella. You scrap a box +1. Is it so easy as you just go, we're going to run a freaking overload, man. We're going to run it out of the right side so that Nathan MacKinnon gets to walk off the half wall. And if no one goes to him, Cale Makar is teed up for a one-timer at the top of the zone. Like, I wonder if you go back to basics and run a straight up overload out of a corner. Now, it takes away a lot of your ability to be dynamic and create 2-on-1s, the overload. That's what the 1-3-1, the box +1 do, is that you
explain to me the format of the overload, like where Nate would be, etc.
It depends where you want him. Like, do you run it off of the right side half wall so that Nate is the guy in the middle of the ice, that when you go from the half wall to the top and you start to rotate a little bit when that top defenseman walks to the middle of the ice, if Nate's in the middle of the ice, kind of in the hash marks at the top of the circle, he can pop out for the one-timer? Or do you run it on Nate's strong side where he would be on the half wall, and then you would have more than likely a right-handed shot in the corner with him, probably Marty Natchez. You would have a Cale Makar right-handed shot above Nate on the strong side of the puck on the offensive zone, and then a left-handed shot as your other defenseman over there. Like maybe you would go to a 2D-man unit. I don't really trust that, but like they're so bad that there's no wrong answers right now. Um, I I don't think they would ever do it, but like they're bottom three in the league right now, right?
No, yeah, I mean, you try anything. You try anything at
Well,
this
I was talking
point.
about experimenting with Bednar, right?
Yeah.
He's experimenting with the pairings. Experiment with that, I guess.
Yeah, you try anything at this point. Nate has always been on the left side in his career. And, you know, again, I noticed it tonight with Nelson on that right wing. And Natchez is just not comfortable. Like, okay, I'm down with Natchez on the right wing, except for the hand of his shot. But now there were times tonight where Natchez and Nate are on that left side and it's too cluttered. If you want to go Nate more in the slot or even on the right side. Now, I just worry about Nate on the right side because he's just played on the left side his entire career. And that's just where he's comfortable. And I know I've seen complaints where people are like, oh, Nate's just going to shoot a one-time slap shot on the left side. Like, how predictable. He's really, really good at that, though.
Yeah, Alex Ovechkin broke an unbreakable record from doing that. I'm not saying Nate is Ovi, but if there's 5 guys that you talk about, that one-timer from that spot in the league after Ovechkin, McKinnon's one of them.
I'm going to go back to what I have been saying all season long, really more in the first several weeks of the season. I would get Natchez off of power play 1. He just doesn't fit.
Okay. Be my guest.
I'd get Lehkonen back on there. And you want to go now? I've said this time and time again. You want to go Nelson, fine. You want to go Olofsson. I'd almost go Olofsson in a way because he has the most dangerous shot on that right side. I understand why they want Martin Natchez out there because he's so skilled. You saw the zone entry that he had on the second power play where he ultimately, does take the big hit from Logan Stanley. Okay, it was good. It was a good zone entry. He's very good. He's very quick. He's very skilled. But he's not good in any position except for the one that Nate plays on the power play. Natchez is just like Nate. Like they're both good on that left side. That's where they excel. But it gets too clogged. I need just one of them over there. That's my thing.
Spring, I have the numbers, so I have modified it slightly. I think we can all agree that this version of the Avalanche or this era of the Avalanche, does it start after the 48-point season, right? So the first year of Jared Bednar up until last year when Rantanen left. The question was brought up of like, oh, the power play still sucked when Mikko was still here. Between 2017, 2018, and last year's 2024-2025 season, can you name me the top 5 power plays in the league? You don't have to give me percentage, but give me 1 through 5. Can you give me a guess at
Okay,
them?
well, I mean the Avs have to be top 5, right? They got to be.
They are in the top 5. Yes, I will give you that.
Okay. Edmonton
1.
Shoot. Because those are easily the top 2. I don't know if those are actually 1 and 2.
Colorado is not number 2, but they are in the top 5.
I'll steal from Soul Punch in the chat. I think he's probably right. Tampa
Bay number 2.
Okay. Bandit says Minnesota. I don't think it's Minnesota.
Minnesota is not in the top 25.
Yeah, they've been lean until Kaprizov is kind of,
So you have Edmonton, you have Tampa Bay at 1 and 2. Colorado is in the top 5. They are not 1 or 2.
Dallas
number 5.
Okay, so we're 1 away.
You have one more team remaining.
I mean, I got a couple that I'm debating. Kevin in the chat says Vegas. Let's go with Vegas.
Vegas is not there. No. Now, granted, they were in the league for a handful of those years, so I can't really I can't really say that they're in this experiment, but no,
Sure.
not
Okay.
Vegas.
Soul Punch says Florida. That would have been my other guess that I was debating with
No,
Vegas.
Florida not part of this list
So
either.
who is it? Kamara says Toronto. That's a good guess.
Toronto.
Okay,
The
Toronto.
Toronto
Fucking, I
Maple
always,
Leafs at
I
number
always forget
3.
about them because, they eat shit in the playoffs, but they're a very good
Edmonton,
regular season team or had been.
Edmonton, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Colorado, and Dallas in that
Checks out.
order are the best power plays from the first year of Jared Bednar's tenure here in Colorado up until last year when Mikko left.
Yeah, I know. Look, yes, in the last, before Miko got traded, there was it was really that season, that season until Miko got traded, the power play got stale. I say stale. I mean, it could have just been snake bitten because look at where it is now. But before that stretch, so what was that? That was 2023 to early 2024. That was when the power play kind of sputtered with Miko out there. But before that, it was very good. Very good. And now that we have a sample size now. It's almost Christmas. Hell, you can, the first couple weeks when Miko left, they had a little bit of success. And then after that, it was dead. So it's really been from mid-March through the playoffs until now. That's a sample size.
Spring, I have some breaking trade news ahead of the roster freeze. A few trades that we haven't talked about yet today. Also, a coaching rumor that is supposed to happen as early as tomorrow in Toronto. And that is coming from a well-known and well-respected Toronto radio host. I will start with the trades. The most recent, this just happened 9 minutes ago. Mason Marchment has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a second round and a fourth round pick. So Mason Marchment goes from an irrelevant franchise in Seattle to Bill Simmons' most irrelevant franchise in professional sports, the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh man, when I saw that tweet that Bill Simmons said that, I legit laughed out loud because I was like, I get it. I understand your thought process. Okay. Look, Columbus was my pick. Man, my picks are actually decent right now.
Your picks are looking great.
Yeah, Columbus was my 8th seed pick. They don't blow you away, but they're pretty solid and some decent young talent. That's a better situation. Look, do we have issues with Mason Marchment? Of course we do. But you also cannot deny his effectiveness in certain areas.
Yeah.
So it's a savvy little pickup for Columbus, actually.
Yeah. Do I think he's worth $4.5 million? Absolutely not.
There's that. Yeah.
Do I think that he can be effective in the playoffs at 6'5" and 220 pounds? You bet your ass I do. Is he a prick? Sure. Is he the fakest tough guy in the NHL? You bet your ass he is. So he goes to Columbus. You don't have to worry about him. You're not going to face Columbus in a playoff series this year. The other trade that we saw today, this is a guy who was the apple of my eye back in the 2021 free agency period.
I saw this one.
And was the apple of my eye over a handful of these trade deadlines that have passed us since the Avs last won their cup. Philip Danault, the centerman for the Los Angeles Kings, has been traded back to Montreal in exchange for a second-round draft pick. When I saw that, man, I that hurt me because I went, damn, I would have made that trade.
Yeah, okay. Philip Danault is a very good player, real solid, real smart, real savvy centerman. And would I love him in Colorado? Absolutely. But I'm not sure they have the money and in maybe not even the need because Brock Nelson's playing well. That's like a 2C type guy.
Oh, see,
so,
if I'm trading for Danault, he is 100% my third center. And the only way that I would have been able to trade for him.
Okay, I mean, that's a hell of a third center. So, I mean, you're deep as shit if that's your third center.
Of course. And that's the reason why I looked at it. I was like, oh, I could really be talked into this. Now, what Colorado doesn't have that Montreal had this year is the second round draft pick to trade. The Avs don't have picks until the fourth round this year. They have 2 in the fourth. They have 3 in the fifth this year. They don't have a first rounder until next season, and they have 2 second rounders in that 2027 draft. So you could have done it with future draft capital. Um, I think the only way to have overbid a current second round pick, you would have had to have either gone second and a third, or second with another pick that had an accelerator on it. Maybe the second becomes a first if the Avs win a cup within their first year or two with Danault on the roster. And I say this because in order to get him there, Spring, you're right. LA would have had to have retained salary this year, next year at 5.5 million.
Yes, and so another interesting thing is that okay, I just looked up their contracts. Marchment, UFA at the end of this year
Yes.
goes for a second and a fourth. Danault has another year of club control. He's under contract through the 26-27 season, and he goes for just a second. So Marchment was more expensive, which is odd to me, given the extra year, and that Danault is a better player. Now, I do know that there were, or at least I believe there were, snags in contract negotiations between the Kings and Danault, but still, that's quite the bargain to get him for just a second, where Marchment goes for a second and a fourth.
Yeah, I understand why Marchment is more expensive, because you can offload that player. Like Columbus, if they're out of the playoff race, or if they look like they're falling out come early March, they can probably flip Marchment to another team, because it's easier to move guys that have expiring contracts rather than players that have term, much like Danault. Marchment is a couple of years younger. He doesn't play as sexy of a position as Danault does. And Danault is a defense only player at this point in his career, and he's damn good at it. Yeah, I think you're right with some questions on fit. Like, maybe he wouldn't have fit here. If we're talking about 2021 version.
No, he would have fit here if this team wasn't loaded as shit.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to, in order to make a move this year as McFarland, you have to make sure it's the perfect move. You can't upset this apple cart, right? It's the scene in Miracle where they're working out that new stud from Minnesota, right? That Herb Brooks wants to bring on because the team is underperforming against Norway in preliminary games, right? They might bring this kid on, and then the team goes to Herb and goes, "He's not one of us. Don't do this. This is going to ruin our chemistry."
Yeah.
McFarland and Sakic have that type of dilemma in front of them.
100%. I mean, I don't think it was by any means close to a perfect game from the Avs forwards tonight from all four lines. You could say the same thing about the game in Seattle as well. Like, especially in Seattle, I thought the bottom six was not very good. But you look at the makeup, the personnel in the bottom six, like, they're rocking their third line right now is Colton, Olofsson, Brindley. We all love ourselves some Gavin Brindley right now. Ross Colton back in his center position. He's obviously shown he can play the wing, and he's maybe he is a better wing, but he's been a center in his career by and large, going back to his days with the Lightning, and then, most of his time with the Avs until, he started playing more wing, and maybe he did play better on the wing, but he's been a center. And so, okay, you're talking about Danault over Ross Colton. Like, that's what you'd be talking about. And look, Ross
is Danault
he just fits. Ross just fits.
Is Danault worth an extra $1 million over Colton?
Yeah, and an asset or two.
I think no.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, they're low. Like, I would,
no.
Man, like, I would love Philip Danault as their third line center, but I really like Ross Colton, So, and then their fourth line, it's on paper, it's pretty good right now. Parker Kelly, Jack Drury is your fourth line center now, who'd been playing good. He'd been playing well as 3C, but you did start to see, the sample size catch up to him a little bit. And maybe 4C kind of is more his role. And if that's your 4C, a guy in Jack Drury who, was a +2 tonight, was integral on the Brent Burns opening goal. And, he's, his production has dipped a little bit of late. Obviously, what Drury brings to the table face-off wise. If your fourth line is Jack Drury, Parker Kelly, and Yoel Kiviranta, It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that's a
enviable.
really good fourth line.
100% Spring. Other piece of news around the league, and this is a rumor that is honestly, it started in Toronto from Howard Berger in Toronto. He is from the Fan 590, which is Canada's first all sports radio station. Um, he had this bit about as early as next week, Pete DeBoer could be the head coach of Toronto, taking over for Craig Berube. And to that, I say, for the love of God, please go coach the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because not only would that take any chance of Peter DeBoer running into you in the West playoffs, if let's say someone in the West who's relatively contending fires their head coach and they hire DeBoer, you are guaranteed to play him. It's just going to happen. It's the way she goes. If he goes to Toronto, not only is he in the East, so you wouldn't have to worry about seeing him until a cup final. If he goes to Toronto, he's not getting to a cup final because what Spring have I been saying for the past 8 years? Toronto is built to lose.
Yeah, I had Toronto missing the playoffs this year, and that's a borderline thing right now. When you and I know that they couldn't retain Mitch Marner, but when you lose a Mitch Marner and you trade a Brandon Carlo at the deadline they acquired Brandon Carlo, but either way, when they lose Mitch Marner, that's huge, and like Tavares is still on there. Did they extend John Tavares? I think they extended him.
Yes, he was a free agent this year. Yes,
which was a baffling move to me. That's holding. If you're gonna lose Marner, but you're still gonna hold on to an old vet like that, and you're gonna play that game of thinking you can still compete. You can still compete. This is an arms race. Like when you lose Mitch, like losing Marner was huge. And I know there was not much they could do about that. I understand that. Okay. But again, like they could compete. They're not going to get to a cup final. There's no chance. It really comes down to who do you think is the better coach, Craig Berube or Pete DeBoer? What Berube did with the Blues many years ago was very admirable. But you do look at Pete DeBoer's track record for like 2 decades, what he's done with some teams, like the system he implements. Like it can take a roster that is flawed like Toronto and maybe make them a tick more competitive than they otherwise would have been. So I understand the move. I think Berube is a damn good coach. I know he's had some controversy. I get that. But DeBoer, despite his failings in the playoffs, even though he does have Jared Bednar's number, perhaps there's a reason he has Bednar's number because he does run a very strict and effective system. So perhaps that could be something that could take a lesser Maple Leafs roster and get it around further than it otherwise would have gone.
Yeah, it would be a good move for Toronto. Like that would be a really savvy hockey move for them to make. I agree with you. Berube did something special, but Berube is who's the best coach in the NFL without a title? Long tenured coach in the NFL without a title.
Scanning my brain.
Like for years it was Andy Reid.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say Tomlin, but no, many years ago he did win a Super Bowl.
You can't say, is it Jim Harbaugh?
Sure, there's a good one, but a good coach nonetheless. Who, like, when you bring a guy like that in, you're going to at least you're going to have a philosophy to you,
and you're going to be competitive. And every year if your team won a Super Bowl, you go, sure, that could make sense somewhere, and in some permutation that can make sense. I see DeBoer as a Jim Harbaugh type coach. I see Craig Berube more along the lines of like Doug Peterson. Like that run that he went on with St. Louis from worst to first in the middle of one season and catching lightning in a bottle with Binnington it was just this crazy run to a title, which is what happened with Doug Peterson and Nick Foles and the Eagles. It was just sometimes craziness in sports happen. Like Cam Ward wins the Stanley Cup with the Carolina Hurricanes, and then they never get close ever again. There's these anomalies, and I kind of look at Berube in the same way that I do Doug Peterson. Even though, like, and people are like, "Oh, he's got a ring. He's a better coach than Harbaugh is." I go, no, I would take Harbaugh 10 times out of 10 over Doug Peterson.
Sure. No, it's a very good comparison. It's actually spot on. So yeah, I get the move, but Toronto's gonna try. It's the hockey capital of the world. They got to do something. Every season is life and death, even though it's I say mostly, it's death. It's every year it's death.
It's death. They are reeling right now.
But you got to do something. You got to appease the fan base. You got to show you're competing, that you're trying. He'll be in the East, and even though his system does have some sort of kryptonite towards how the Avs play, you don't have to worry about it because it's way far away and will not be a factor in a possible Cup final.
And again, just a rumor. This is a possibility it could happen, but these rumors are being founded.
Checks out. It really checks out. Like I think that will happen. I do.
Yeah, rumors being founded by Toronto media who are like, this could happen as early as tomorrow, maybe just after the holiday freeze. Toronto's a point out of being the worst team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, there's so many reasons why that it's not like it's that there's some rumors where you're like, that doesn't make any sense. That actually makes a ton of sense.
All right, Spring. Avs win 3-2. Fun win, fun game. Power play continues to suck. Special teams almost killed them tonight. Connor Hellebuck is still the regular season version of Connor Hellebuck that we know. And then we get treated to a really poorly timed Avalanche game on Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain, which is going to coincide with like the start of the fourth quarter for the Broncos and Jags game that afternoon at 2:05 on CBS. So that starts at 4 p.m. You can listen to it on 92.5. You can watch it on Altitude. But what we get treated to is the best team in the NHL and the third best team in the NHL, who just so happened to trade for Quinn Hughes. That's a Minnesota Wild team on the road. Minnesota will be on the second leg of a back-to-back.
That's true. Minnesota hosts Edmonton tomorrow. So
and Edmonton's playing well.
They are. So that's good news. It's a rematch. We saw this game a few weekends ago. Game went to overtime. I imagine, it'll be interesting to see who they start tomorrow. Who Minnesota? I'd go. If they have any nuts, then you start Gustafsson tomorrow.
Yep.
And you put Wallstedt in. You put Volstead in against Colorado because you know that's their guy. And this is one thing I was thinking tonight. Like, we are really in the era of the tandem goalie, the goaltending tandem. This is what we're in. Blackwood, Wedgwood, Volstead, Gustafsson. Like, it's the way to go nowadays until that. And I don't know if that next horse is going to come along. Maybe it is a Volstead. I don't know. But we are in the era of the goaltending tandem. And I think you got those are the two best teams with the two best goaltending tandems. So it was a Wedgwood start tonight, which means, and look, Scott Wedgwood's been great. And I know Blackwood has been a little up and down since he's, come off the injury this season. Certainly had his good moments. Mackenzie Blackwood versus Jesper Volstedt. Hell yes. Give that to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, what an interesting Sunday afternoon. Those are a couple of marquee matchups. 4 really good teams. Broncos, Jaguars, Avalanche, Wild. That's a Sunday afternoon for you, folks.
Without a doubt, Mark Springer. Again, I apologize for your Oklahoma Sooners shooting themselves in the foot today.
Yeah, that's what they do.
It's the way she goes sometimes, buddy. At least you have a team in the fight. I think
it was fun. It was fun.
3 games this year.
Yeah. No, good luck. Hey, I guess in this era, anything's possible. Fucking James Madison's in the college football playoff. You're in the ACC, my friend. So, you
only need to win 7 games to win that conference. And did you see the memorandum of understanding that's going into play next year, where all 4 conference champions, regardless of how highly they are ranked, are guaranteed in the Power 4 to get into the playoffs. So if it was this year, Duke would have been in at 7-5.
Duke should have been in. They should have actually win your fucking
on.
conference championship game.
It was against Virginia.
So what? That's the conference championship game.
Such a poverty conference, the ACC.
That's why your Orange actually have a chance.
Such a at this
I'll
point,
be rooting
man,
for him.
At this point, I'm just like, go back to the Big East. Like, just go back. You don't have to play in the ACC in basketball. Just go back to the Big East because no one cares about the ACC in football anyways. And that's the reason why you made the move. I digress. This is a hockey podcast. Spring, it's late. Let's get out of here. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday after the Broncos and Jags and the Avs take on the Minnesota Wild. On the road, we'll be on air 6:30 or 6 o'clock sometime on Sunday evening. Won't be Christmas, but we'll be damn near. Maybe we'll play some Christmas music, some tunes for all y'all.
No, they'll sue us, bro.
Oh, yeah, we can't do that. Damn.
Yeah.